Hello and welcome back to the Doctors Who podcast. Last time we were discussing part 2 of The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Of course, that encompasses chapters 12 through 27. Today we continue that discussion by talking about what the Mists might be up to, as well as Elend's strategy to deal with the armies that are outside his gate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello, we are the Doctors Who podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Chip.
My name is Brian.
We are still in the right order. So last time we kind of left off with the discussion of the mists appearing in the daytime, what Sazed was seeing, and then what Vin was seeing inside Luthadel as well.
Part 2 of part 2. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Let's kind of finish up the conversation about the mist real quick before
because
Sounds good.
Because what I kind of like the whole mystery that's building here, and there's a couple of them going on. So you got the kandra mystery, you've got the mystery that
the mist mystery.
Vin is starting to put
The
the mist
mystery.
mystery, the MYST mystery. And she's starting to connect things to the deepness, and
That's something we haven't really heard much about since the first
Right.
book.
No,
right?
and we heard a lot about it in the first book, because was it that the Lord Ruler defeated the deepness?
Well,
wasn't it?
he put himself in the position he was in order to protect the people in the world from the deepness.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But we still don't know what it is, and Vin has some theories, but now she's going back to the logbook and
she's poring
researching
over,
this, and
what
she's
is it,
just
Elend?
not finding what she needs. Yeah, the logbook
right.
from Elend,
Right.
and then Sazed luckily shows up with these rubbings from the steel plates that he found
Right.
in.
Has he
at the
shared those with
Conventicle.
her yet?
I think he
has
shares
not.
them later, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking
Okay.
at that. We know he's got this
Sure.
information
Yeah.
that has
Okay.
got to come into Vin's hands
Yeah.
at some point.
And why did the Inquisitors have it?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
So, anyway, yes, it seems like things are going to tie in there, because they were Elend was heading to the Well of Ascension when he was offed by, was it Radek or whatever that
Sounds
guy's...
right.
That sounds right.
He who became the Lord Ruler because
Yes.
he killed...
Was it Rashek?
Rashek, that's right, yeah. But, yeah, it kind of seems like we're going to go back to that whole quest a little bit more and figure out where the well is and what the deepness is.
And I still am curious about the Well of Ascension, and thinking about, there's a lot of talk about Kelsier's memory, that, we know he is out there, so is there somehow that they bring his spirit back, or is his spirit what she's seeing in the mists?
But Elend also refers to seeing something in the mist, and
Right.
actually she saw it, or he saw it actually kill somebody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is it that, or is this misdirection? Well,
Misdirection? Sorry. It was right there.
it was.
It was right there.
It was. And while all of that is going on, we have kind of this political intrigue, because Luthadel has these two armies. Sazed says, "Oh no, wait, there's a third."
Yeah. Of these badass creatures called the Koloss.
Which
Yeah.
They
Weird.
sound nasty.
This is the first time we've heard of a not human element in Sanderson's.
Yeah, the kandra.
Oh, that's a good point.
Good
That's a good
point.
point.
But-
Thank you.
But they're different
They're
altogether. They're
Beastly.
they're more animal than human.
Yeah.
They don't really seem to follow human.
And there, in some books, there's just descriptions that stick with me. In this one, the description of the Koloss, just that the skin, I think they were
Just
blue, and that
saggy.
they have this saggy skin that they just slowly grow into and slowly outgrow. To where they're like ripping through it, and
Yeah.
it's just such a twisted
It's disturbing.
view.
And how violent they are to each other.
I'm
And
wondering if Sanderson needs therapy.
I don't know. I liked it.
Maybe you
What's
need
that
therapy.
well,
me.
maybe writing is his therapy. Maybe he needs less therapy in order to write.
I mean, that could
He
be.
seems
these
pretty
books,
easy
I don't know.
and grounded when the bit I've
Yeah.
seen about him. But
So, I am no Matt Cawthon, and I am not a military strategist. But, yeah, I say that because I've
bet
been...
you play one
I've-
on the Doctor's
I've-
podcast?
No,
Or-
no, I'm not even...
You slept at a
that.
Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, that makes
That
perfect
might have been
sense. That makes
I'm
perfect sense.
just saying that because I've been reading Wheel of Time since we finished Eye of the World. But,
I tried, but I got really sucked into this book. So.
Yeah. The whole problem of the army, right? They spend all this time like plotting out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what Elend is going to do to convince his father to turn against Set and improve their odds, and how they're going to try and play the armies against each other. And they go to all of this trouble. Elend actually goes into Straff's camp with Vin, undefended. Well, I mean, not undefended because Vin's with him, right? But like,
but Straff does not see her as a threat.
No,
so because he's Donald Trump.
Well, that's a good point. I almost saw him. He gave me more of like a Tywin Lannister vibe.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that. Just the overconfident, very arrogant.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got from him. But as far as like comparing characters from the book back to other, ever since you said Sazed and Saru, like every time I read Sazed's dialogue, it's
and I mean, this character
Doug,
existed before Saru. So
yeah,
it's really Saru
in
is
Doug
Sazed.
Jones' voice.
Good point.
Yeah,
and I think if they ever do a movie or a show of this, Doug Jones needs to be Sazed.
I agree.
So there, internet, you heard it here first. Probably not. We can't be the only ones, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
If we are, we should be like part of the casting director.
Yeah,
making selections on who plays who. But
that's a great idea.
That would be a fun podcast, just if we were going to cast this out or cast out
Name
of the Wind.
Yeah.
I think I said David Bowie, if he was still alive, would have been a great, I forget the character in Name of the Wind, Quoth. But,
Oh, yeah.
But, anyway.
Yeah.
And he was in the scene with Billy Zane. And
That's true, he was. Way to tie it back.
Good
Let's
job.
talk about Zane.
Good job.
Zane's an interesting character, too.
Yeah.
And the whole fact that he's Elend's brother.
Half-brother.
Well, because his father has spawned a lot of issue, through the years. But I liked the whole back and forth and kind of the sparring with Zane and Vin, and how he can never quite figure out how Vin knows he's there. That he tries to sneak up on her and he never can. But.
Well, and also he's insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he knows he's insane, which is, I think, an advantage that most insane people maybe don't have. I don't know, since I've never been insane, but
Not
like
yet.
he has this like second voice that was always like shouting at him to kill people, and it is referred to in the book as God, and I'm like, this is a little weird.
He seems troubled, to say the least, but I don't think he actually has made up his mind where his allegiances lie.
No.
I think that's the part that makes it interesting to me.
And
Where
the fact that he's trying to poison his father.
Straff.
Right.
I think Straff thinks he's got him under control.
Yes. Straff is way overconfident for the position he's actually in.
Yeah. And an interesting thing about Zane is he was in the pits.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
We found that out here, too.
Well, she noticed the scarring on his arms.
Yeah.
And he didn't admit to it, but she knows where it came from.
Right.
So.
Well, and I can't figure out, is Zane trying to... I don't think he's trying to get with Vin, but I think he wants Vin to break up or not be under the thumb of Elend.
I think he sees an equal.
I get the impression that
You must be
Zane
right.
doesn't know any other
Right.
Mistborn.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
Vin
that
is
could
the
be.
first Mistborn that he's met.
And he's
could
finally
be.
got somebody that
Is
understands
his equal
what he's
and knows
been through.
what he... Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that. Because he's probably been...
Well, he's been
he's
enslaved
had
and
to have
kept
been-
under wraps. I mean,
he's had to have been trained by somebody.
But is he kind of like when they trained Vin? I mean, Kelsier did some of the training, but then she
Passing
trained
him
with each of
around
the
all the
Allomancers
elements.
that,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, I
this
can
one
see
is
that.
strong. I can't remember, it was Ham that was strong with Pewter and was the thug and could train her to how to use
Clubs and
this.
breeze
And, right.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Okay.
we know
That's
that there's
true.
different Allomancers that
Right.
Straff has. So that's my theory.
And what is Straff? Is he a Tin-Eye? Is that right?
He's a Jedi, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Which
he
he
can
can
Which was
see and hear.
really
Yeah.
cool because like Vin used her powers a little stronger so that he would
He
detect
picked
them,
up on it.
and then she could like pull back and like sneakily kind of manipulate him without him aware of it.
That whole
And it
scene as well.
Better than the
also
Avalanche.
served to decrease his opinion of her.
Yes.
So it played two things. And Vin, having been from the streets and working for all these thieving crews, was an expert at getting somebody in a more powerful position than her to do what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And how to manipulate them.
Well, I think in the first book she called it her luck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, she was able to kind of will her luck on different people and get them to do some things before she realized what she was doing.
And you know, when with Elend, it was the spy in Luthadel reported back what Elend's plan was, and so he was on to him until Elend had to like just wing it, and like he found his backbone and stood up, and Straff didn't know what to do then.
Right.
And so he managed to still walk away with his life. I thought for sure he was going to get shanked.
One thing that I thought was interesting from that little brief... Well, yeah, okay, so immediately after, we find out, or maybe it was right before, but we find out that the kandra actually is Zane's kandra. And so, like, it's Straff's kandra, but it actually is Zane's. So it actually has more familiarity with Zane.
Well, and it makes a difference then, too, because if it's operating on Zane's direction, he seems to have more of an affinity for Vin than Straff does. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and
One thing this whole
has done is it's created just this extra level of drama and tension. It's like, who can we trust? So, Orsier says that if you can detect them using allomancy, they're not a kandra. So she's been like putting all of these people in Kelsier's crew in a position to use allomancy to rule them out, which is kind of clever.
It's
kind of fun. It's like a Murder on the Orient Express type thing.
It is.
She's trying to
like they have this external
target these different people.
threat, but there's also this like internal conflict where she
I honestly,
I'm
trying
to figure it
clueless.
out.
So because there's the scene early on in this part where basically it's Kelsier's old crew. So it's Ham and Breeze and Docs and Spook and Clubs, and they're all talking about this plan that they're going to pit these two together, and Straff knew everything about it. So it's somebody that was in that room, but she's slowly, trying to weed them out. And so I don't want it to be any of them.
Well, and don't forget, Set's daughter is there too.
Oh, I forgot about Elry. Showing up.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think she's...
But she wasn't in that meeting.
She wasn't in
showed
there,
up after that.
But I still don't trust her at all.
But Breeze might have shared like
were
the
there
plan with her.
Were there any other animals in the room?
I don't think it said. Or
Orser was in there with
Orser.
Vin. But I don't know if there were...
Now,
But the bones that were found were human, weren't they?
But that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't change after the fact.
Good
That's
point.
true.
What if Orser actually is the other...
Then he would be the human.
Well, but what if the other Kandra ate Orser before he became the dog?
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas.
But that would still play with Vin and the connection with Orser, as we think it's Orser. Because if he's operating on Zane's direction, then he may not be targeting her. Or
you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like when you're trying to like second guess your opponent. Like, I think he would think I would do this, but then he would anticipate I would do this, so he'd really expect me to do this. But then if he would expect me to do that, then I would have to do this, this, and this. So you could just
inconceivable
work yourself. Yeah,
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Right.
So, but then Elend and Vin get back, and there's a message from the assembly basically saying, "Hey, you've been deposed," which undoes everything.
Right?
He's no longer the king. He doesn't have power over Luthadel, and the assembly is more than happy to just hand this thing
But there's
over.
little hints along the way. He keeps skipping assembly meetings. I got this thing to do. I got this thing to do.
Right.
Something more important. And then the assembly comes back and says, "Hey, dude,
Bye.
I'm done with you."
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. And he kind of did it to himself. Like
Yeah,
you
he
said.
did.
In more than one way. He set up the assembly, and then he
created the laws
and
that
then he just
everybody
pushed
agreed
him off
upon.
to the side and just did his own
Right.
thing, like he was a king without an assembly.
Yeah.
And it came back and bit him in the ass.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for the next part? Like, what recourse do they have? It's almost like they go back to their roots.
Well, and because you got two armies at the door, You've got
a third one behind him.
And I can't remember the structure of the assembly. I think its majority is Ska, isn't it? Like 8 Ska and then 7 noblemen
Something
and
like
7
that.
merchants
Yeah.
or something like that. So the Ska still hold at least the majority, unless the merchants and the nobles all band together. But I guess I don't know what the process would be to figure out who leads.
But it puts the crew back in that position of not being in a position of leadership, where they have to do things on the down low, and they have to be kind of sneaky and crafty and original in their thinking.
Yeah.
So it puts them back, I think, in their element.
Yeah.
But how will they deal with Straff? I mean, at this point, Straff, like, this really changes the dynamic between Luthadel and the invading armies.
It does.
In part 1, wasn't it, where the assassins that came after Vin in part 1, was it, they were from Set, weren't they? So Set's still got some cards to play here, too.
He
We don't know much about him yet. So we
know
met
Zane
Straff.
has a cache of
Adium somewhere.
So, but maybe this is the branching off point where they're like, okay, we can't do anything about the city, but we can go do the Well of Ascension deepness thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we could speculate for another 20 minutes.
Yes, we could.
At least. Yeah. But I think what we need to do is we just need to read the next section. And record another video.
I really like how he's setting him. I mean, there's so many facets here that they're all going to come together at some point. But you get the political intrigue. You've got kind of the relationship that's building between Zane and Vin, and then you've got the whole mystery of the kandra and who's the spy, and just it's
and on
fun.
top of that, you have like this whole arc with Elend where you're like, okay, he's the king and he's going to figure out how to deal with this, and then they just cut that off.
He's not.
Yep.
So they're like he's keeping us on our toes, and he's making it interesting.
Very much so.
So next time we will be covering part 3 of the Well of Ascension. So if you have been enjoying what we've been doing so far, we invite you to hit that subscribe button. We invite you to hit that bell notification so you get notified when we post new content. And also leverage that comment section. We would love to continue this conversation with you outside of the video. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Brian, in the meantime,
Allons-y.